Ready Check Radio. What's up, Internet? It's Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That means here on Ready Check Radio, it's time for the Relic Grind, the Final Fantasy XIV Square Enix podcast, and we've got tons of stuff to cover today. Not so much on the Final Fantasy XIV front. I mean, we do have the live letter, but, you know, we kind of knew most of what was coming there. We'll go over that. Some more great decisions on what I think on the Final Fantasy trading card game front, in addition to last week's already good decisions, and a ton of other news to go over. I'm your host, Mike Byrne. As always, if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Audible or Spotify or any of the podcast platforms, thank you so much. While you're there, give it a like, a subscribe, thumbs up, turn on those notifications, all that good stuff. And, of course, join us live. You can head to the website right down there, readycheckradio.com. All the socials are in the upper right, but the backlog for this show and our Gaming Gumbo Gaming Weekly Wrap-Up show, they're all there as well. Joining me to go over all of the good news, Mr. Chris Montoya, a.k.a. Tarkoth. What's up, sir?
Greetings, programs. I did a thing.
You did do a thing?
Yeah, I did a thing. Yeah. I have some pretty wings now. Fru is done. Tark is a Genesis of Legend. And I'm just happy it's done. It's like a burden has been lifted off my shoulders. I don't have to go into the game.
Was this a pug, or did you pay for a carry? Did you find a group? What happened?
I found a group, and a group that kind of specializes in helping people clear that are like close. And I showed them my log and my video of being 0.13% in rage. And like, oh yeah, we'll get you over the top. That's fine. So I found some people that weren't our nubs, and we did it. It was good stuff.
So it was a carry. It just wasn't a paid one.
You know what?
Also on the line, Mr. Paul Berlin, a.k.a. Flynn. What's up, boss?
I remember what time to do the show this week.
Don't worry, Tark. I'm just jealous because you have wings. I don't. I didn't
without Red Bull and everything.
Yeah. You did remember what time the show was today. Very good. We're very proud of you.
Bloody different daylight savings.
Hey, it'll get there. What, you change next week?
2
weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
2 weeks, something like that. I knew it was coming up.
30th.
Yeah, I knew it was coming up because you guys have like 3-4 weeks after we do it typically. Anyway, you'll be back on schedule then, and you'll screw it up for the first week.
Why don't you go to my calendar just for the 2 time adjustments?
He'll be sitting there early. Where the hell is everybody?
What's going on?
I'll get a ping. Are we doing a show? Yeah, in 58 minutes. What are you doing? What are you pinging me for? Anyway, before we get started with some Final Fantasy XIV stuff in collabs you never knew were happening from around the world, we've got another one for you. We did the hair dye one last week. If you really, really wanted to just, look like a Final Fantasy XIV character, I guess. Here we've got some fine whiskey, some fine whiskeys for you. Final Fantasy XIV. We don't get the cool collabs over here.
No,
I know we missed out on the last set of whiskeys as well.
Yeah. So there's your. In case you didn't know, Final Fantasy still does some very weird collabs. It looks good.
Region locked collabs. Good.
Yeah, exactly. Region locked collabs. On the 14 front, of course, this past week, we had just the day after last week's show, we went in and had the part 2 live letter of patch 7.2 coming this week on the 25th, this coming week. Let's start, gentlemen. We'll just kind of buzz through. I mean, we knew most of the main features, but we did get some bits and bobs about each feature, a couple of details here and there, a couple pieces of armor, things like that. As usual, we'll go through those. But now we've got the entire full trailer. We'll probably get the full patch notes sometime tomorrow. Pretty typical as far as when the preliminary patch notes go up.
Yeah.
But let's just start right away with the Seekers of Eternity trailer. Flynn, what did you think now that we have the entire video?
Hildebrand is still the standout for the trailer.
is very Matrixy with Hildebrand's sequence in the trailer.
I have a feeling.
Was that it? You didn't care about main story. It was good as well. It was Hildebrand. That was it.
Yeah, it's like MSQ. Give me Hildy. Give me the Occult Crescent. To be fair, the Occult Crescent does seem to have hit on a prediction I had pre-Dawntrail.
Oh,
just not in the same way where the older Rogadin fisherman would be involved. I expected we'd find him there pre-expansion launch, but I got half a prediction.
Tark, what are you thinking? Sitting back, watching the trailer.
It's pretty hype. I just we need to see more variations and versions of the multiverse of Hildebrand, you know?
Lots of boss fights shown off this one. I felt like there were more boss fights in this one than in previous ones. They always kind of do flybys real quick, but it's just every other or every third clip seemed to be a boss fight. I was all for it. I'm not complaining, by the way. I was just that's showing a lot of bosses. Obviously, some of those are going to be part of the expert dungeon, the Underkeep, that gets unlocked in the main scenario quest. We'll have the trial, which is called the Recollection. Obviously, that's part of the main story. We kind of talked about whether we like that or not a few weeks ago, whether the trial is best served being part of the MSQ or side content. And then you'll get the extreme difficulty mode after you beat the normal road or the normal mode. The Arcadian raid, some of the bosses seem to be shown off there. That's going to be the cruiserweight division of our competition. And the scenario continues that story as well. Unreal Trial against Byakko, the Jade Stoa Unreal. That's going to be swapped out for Suzaku in Hell's Kier Unreal. Both trials are from Stormblood, right? That was the whole Four Lords thing. So
can't wait to get back to DDR steps. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Melee LB through the donut.
Frontline getting the secure mode map. The Borderland Ruins is coming back after a significant rework.
I'm excited.
Are you really?
I am, because I've had to do a lot of PvP recently because my series have been just so lacking. So when we have days where we have the Shatter, I'm like, oh, this is going to put that on every 4-day rotation instead of every 3 days. So one less day of that, and I'm hoping it's good. Because I do a daily frontline when I can. So
I don't care. It's Final Fantasy PvP. If I want a PvP, there's other games that I do that in. But the whole new selecting one of 3 actions for the roll function, that's being added as well. So things are changing on that front. If you do enjoy PvP in Final Fantasy, you're getting a couple new things to mess with. Of course, the Corn Servant's going to be back. We all love the Corn Servant. And then they started talking about jobs, and I want to stop here for a second because they did kind of allude Flynn to melee DPS getting buffs. But in the same discussion, had to announce Pictomancer getting nerfs. And they kind of phrased this that they had to do this rather than want to. Typically, right, if you look back when new jobs are introduced and they maybe are a little more powerful than the existing jobs, and they usually try to, if they can, up everybody else rather than pull back the new class. And they kind of alluded to the fact that, depending on the translations you read, that was not going to be possible here to raise everybody up to some of the creep of power that Pictomancer had. And so they specifically said, Flynn, we did this because we had to, not because we wanted to.
Yeah, there is a point where you have to hit the king of upkeep, when king of downtime job. Because if they're planning for more downtime, Pictomancer is just going to keep getting stronger and stronger.
This is true.
Yep. And then Sunken Temple of Karn, by the way, last piece before Tark, I'll let you chime in on the nerf. Sunken Temple of Karn from A Realm Reborn becomes duty support capable. Anyway, sorry, go ahead. That gets us through the main feature there.
No, it needed a nerf, especially if they're going to incorporate downtime anywhere, because any sort of downtime where everyone else is kind of sitting on their resources, Picto is really gaining a big chunk of resources to then unleash when the boss comes back. So being that they're completely different from any other job as far as just design, just put it at a different tier. And then through it just was exacerbated because there's so much downtime throughout that fight until the last phase, that it was just unbalanced. Like Party Finder was, one of each job, and then was job reserved specifically for Picto. So you knew something was off there.
To Cal asking about, heard something with black mages.
Yeah.
So the Enochian time, let's see if I can remember these. The Enochian timer is being removed.
No more 15 seconds.
Yeah, no more 15 seconds. Flare Star and Fire 4 are having their cast times reduced to 2 seconds. Fire 3 procs and Thunderhead procs are permanent now. Flare Star's potency is going from it's an increase. I don't remember what it is. It's like a 350 to 450 or 4 to 5, 450 to 550. It's like 100. And Paradox now does not grant Umbral Ice 2 or Astral Fire 2. So those all have a lot of impact across the board for how Black Mage plays. So Paradox is now just like, just with the Enochian timer removed, just click the damn thing whenever you like. Whenever you feel like it, just go ahead and push it. Is it there?
It's
moving. The fire change, the reduced cast timer is also adding to the mobility factor, to an increased mobility factor for Black Mages too. I'm going to have to get in, being a Black Mage main, I'm going to have to get in and feel these changes, because while I typically join the, man, it is really tough sometimes in certain fights to be a Black Mage, where mobility is key to the mechanics of the fight. And sometimes that's a hindrance on the rotation to a very, very big degree. Yes, I've ridden that train before. I'm a little worried that this kind of shifted things to the other side, and it's just made a lot of some of, the people like me that play Black Mage that enjoy some of the challenge of that, and just maybe have said, that particular fight, Tark, that particular fight was a little too punishing to be a Black Mage for. Maybe this shifts things to being a little too easy. I'm not sure. I want to get my hands on it and see exactly, how it all plays and feels together. Because yes, there's going to be increased mobility. There's abilities that now you really don't even think about when you're going to use them. It's just, is it up? Cool. And am I at the end of a rotation? Cool. Hit it.
I think that timer has been part of Black Mage's identity for almost 12 years now, right? So now you're getting rid of it? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't like it. Like, because that was something unique. Like, if you're going to be a pro Black Mage, how your timers work. Like, now you're just getting rid of it. It's lowering the floor, and you're not I'm not a fan of it.
It'll be interesting to see what changes from what we saw in the mouse overs to what the actual full release version of Black Mage will be.
Well, are you talking about Enochian, Tark? Because that was what, Heaven's Word?
Yeah.
Enochian came in as Heaven's Word, but the timer has been around since.
Some element of the timer. Yeah. Takao saying also Black Mage main, I'm all for it. In fact, remove cast bars totally. Let me blow shit up with no restrictions.
Well, then
ideal world, right? Like, that sounds fun. But I'm one of those, I do like a challenge. I can appreciate going into certain trials, certain 8-person raids, and having a sequence of 4 fights and going, these 3 felt really nicely tuned. They were challenging. I still was able to do some DPS. And then this 4th fight, just going, man, I was like 7 on the aggro meter the entire time, like 7 or 8, just because I could never really get into a firing groove. And I'm sure it'll improve as I do the fight a few more times, Flynn. But if I'm starting at 8 or 7 on the aggro meter there, improving is what, 5 and 6? And that's not where I want to be as a Black Mage, right? Like, I want to try to be getting into at least the 3 slot and maybe fighting the off tank in some cases for that second aggro spot. But we'll see. We'll see. I have to get my hands on it. I am a little bit worried that it's just going to be a bit more mindless than it has been in the past. But I could be wrong. We'll see how it plays.
I don't think you are.
It's definite. I will say this: if every fight for you as a black mage is challenging, this to get a nice rotation going without ending up falling out of rotation or stacking something incorrectly or hitting something that breaks your rotation, and then you got to start it. Like if you've had those problems in all content, these will definitely help you. 100%, they will help you.
I mean,
but do they help too much? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
If you were having that problem before, maybe just black mage wasn't your job.
Yeah, that's what you want is take the skill expression away from the job.
Saying, hell, they don't care about job identity anyway, so why care with black mage? Hey, we've said that on this show before, that there is a certain class homogenization that's been happening over the last few years. Yeah. So, I don't necessarily disagree. I just hope they haven't made it brainless. Because I did like the idea, like I was never a top tier black mage, right? Like I'm not going for world firsts or anything like that, Tark. But I did like the idea of going into a trial and then getting a calm and a whisper saying, hey, man, the last 3 black mages were pretty bad. Thanks so much for, not being a baddie. Like being recognized by strangers as, okay, that's a pretty decent black mage, right?
Yeah.
Just because you put the time in. But that's just vanity, maybe.
No, I mean, that's a job that does require, fight intelligence and knowledge, like to micro those moments when you can get that little extra edge. So
yeah, and sometimes
taken away from that.
Yeah, sometimes it means like, hey, there's no way around breaking my rotation. So now I've got to map out where to break my rotation so that I don't get punished, as badly if I broke it here instead, to get ready for this mechanic.
This might also affect stat allocation for like materia and stuff, because black mages loved spell speed so they can get fit more in their fire windows. Like now it's just, okay, well, now you're going to be like everyone else and screw spell speed. Give me all the crit. Give me all the direct hit, right?
Yep.
Determination.
We'll see.
We'll see.
By the way, speaking of the raid, the Arcadian Cruiserweight stuff, the Savage mode comes out 1 week. You guys still liking the 1 week timer on this one?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm glad they've gone on record now saying this will be the standard.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is something they should have said pre-expansion, but
crafters and gatherers rejoice. They're like, yay, we have a week.
So that'll be
April 1st.
Losing
money still, unless they're hired by FCs and stuff.
I think they're still.
Because you have to week.
Doesn't mean we have heartburn.
It's because things just nosedive when you got a week delay. So instead of a piece of armor still being a couple of million throughout the week of the first Savage release, it drops down to 100k within 4 hours.
That's April 1st. April 22nd is the Cosmic Exploration. That'll be patch 7.21. That's kind of like this version, or the current version of the old Ishgardian restoration stuff. Mm-hmm. Although they have been making changes, will be helping the Loporrits on the moon, and but they have made changes. They've said to that will facilitate being able to do this content after it's not the main content. Like going back and trying to do Ishgardian restoration stuff now is absolutely brutal for newer players or players that just never did it. They are making changes, they say, to this one. And then May 27th will be patch 7.25. That's when we'll get the Occult Crescent with all the field exploration, the support jobs that level independently. You have to open them up. The Allied Society quests come back with the Mummel Jaw. And then Flynn, your boy, Hildebrand.
Well, as Nova Crystallis are calling him Hardy Boiled.
Yeah, Hardy Boiled detective. Here, I'm going to show you some screenshots while we talk about these, because I actually did like their cruiserweight demo. when we first saw a couple screenshots from this, I was like, man, they are really diving into like that whole 70s disco Technicolor, and I was like, I don't know if I'm here for that vibe. Then they showed some of it off, and I was like, all right, this is kind of fun. It's fun looking. Let's see. The M1 was the one they showed off, the cruiserweight M1, and yeah, look at that. Look at that model. Look at that.
It's just going to be an interesting fight, I reckon.
Well, I mean, we already see multiple colored squares on the floor in here, so
He also seems to be doing his attacks to the beat of the music.
Yeah, that's cool.
it was very cool.
I like them trying new things.
Yeah, he does look very John Travolta, Saturday Night Fever. And then, just in case you needed some more confirmation that FF9 is all over the 7.x series, here's a look at some of the new combat gear, or some of the new gear coming down the road. This is from the Allegan Tombstones of Mathematics. This is the tier gear. Gee, I wonder who this is modeled after there, Tark. I couldn't possibly figure it out.
Okay, come on now.
Couldn't possibly figure it out.
Yeah.
There was like a very Zidane looking one too.
Yeah. The caster set
have
is
a Zidane
horrendous,
one.
though.
We have
Yeah,
a
well,
Zidane one, so-
I have not been happy, Flynn, to that point with a caster set in a long time.
Fair.
I remember leveling to 100, and there was this period at like 94, 93, 94 to like 96 where I walked around as like a BDSM queen black mage. Like my girl was in like a leather gimp mask
And all the belts.
She had all the belts, and like that was it, just the belts. And it was just like, what is going on, queen? Holy hell. I mean, great. She looked great. My little Makote, she was looking awesome, but I was still like, it was so bizarre in cutscenes in particular. It's like people are just standing there talking, and I'm just like in this big leather mask. What is going on?
That reminds me. I got a not glam in my squirrel outfit for the MSQ.
So, and then as far as like sets, right? That was like the leveling dungeon set stuff. But as far as like tombstone sets, I don't do transmog in games all that often. And when I do, it's usually like full set stuff, right?
Same.
You know, I'm like, oh, I'll go to World of Warcraft when I was playing that. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm going to buy that set, or it's on sale, or I win this set as a reward, or from the trader's post, or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, I love that entire set, transmog, and just spit the whole set onto my character. I'm not really one that like finds I got to go get that belt, this pants, that's not me. And so in Final Fantasy, like glamour, when it was first introduced, was such a fucking headache to do. Like get the gear,
all
get the crystals,
different crystals.
yeah, get all the level crystals, and I was like, I don't want to engage in this system at all, so I just didn't. Which means I, and to this day, still typically just wear whatever the tier of current gear is, and there hasn't been one that been like, okay, I'm gonna transmog back to that set if I don't like the next set. There just hasn't been one, Flynn. I totally agree with you. And we kind of get asked out again.
Yeah.
But I think the best thing about this set is why everyone's been calling the Zidane set, Timo Zidane.
Timo Zidane, yeah.
It's very Wish.
Yeah.
You ordered Zidane on Wish, and you got that. So funny thing here, there's part of the QVC stuff at the end, right? There was the Don Quixote pop-up store in Japan coming later this month, March 29th through April 30th. Chocobo and Moogle Sleepwear in North America and EU, which we don't have details on yet. That's coming soon. But we did see the Novel Keys collaboration with the keyboard. You can pre-order that now.
Oh, yeah.
Did you order it?
No, I'm not a big keyboard modder person.
No.
I got my Razer. I'm good.
There's another Istian a special collection line coming up for Japan. That's the whiskey we showed you earlier. And then some stickers and the primal stuff and things like that. Now, if you're in Germany, by the way, the 14 team is hiring for an assistant community manager there and a Japanese English interpreter translator. So as I keep taking my Duolingo, I'll be ready for that job in 5 years. No time soon. But it's kind of funny because the pop-up stores that have been showing up for various things are also being blamed within the community for some delays in other Final Fantasy products, including some FFTCG stuff, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Any surprises, Flynn, for you from the show?
Watching the sprint jog thing, going back to our discussion last week, they could have just set the trigger to jog automatically.
Yeah, it looks really dumb.
Yeah.
I will say the mount for the extreme looks amazing. With as soon as you fly, you got the sword appear, and the song Soken's rendition of Roses of May sounds amazing. I can't wait to dive into that.
They did also show off the whole Tark being able to mount while running as well. And Yoshi P had a good laugh at how many times we'll forget that we can do it and end up standing still anyway.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's
The
learned
nicest
behavior.
bit of quality of life, quickly, that they mentioned is sprint and potions are being able to be queued now. So they act on the same spell waiting system as all other abilities.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, the jog thing still bothers me. Like, I don't get it. You know, again, go to last week's episode for more details on just being a software engineer myself, how I would have tackled the problem that I presume that they were having with this one. But literally at the end of the day, either make it just the default within city borders. You know, it slaps this buff on everybody, and then you don't press sprint at all unless you want an extra little burst of speed for a little bit. Or if you had to do it this way, the jog speed should just be equal to the sprint speed, so that when the sprint buff wears off, you have jog, but you don't notice a speed change. It's just very weird. I don't like it. And I really didn't like watching it. I was like, that just looks awkward. It just looks funky.
It's kind of awkward in Island Sanctuary too. So
yeah.
let's just make things.
Island Sanctuary was even weirder to me because it was the sprint cooldown for the triggering of the action was shorter than the duration of the sprint. So while I'm sprinting, I'm just hitting the button. Like I'm literally just clicking it. Like, this is busy work. Why are you making me do this? Yeah. I don't like the implementation of jog either. And hopefully I feel like that's one that'll probably change in the future. Like, I feel like this was, hey, let's get iteration 1 out the door, and then we'll improve upon it. Just set jog equal to sprint and be done with it. Just be done with it. Or let us mount. I know you're never going to do that, and I know why you're never going to let us do that, but that would also be an acceptable solution for me.
Yeah.
I mean, we could do it in like Rogros Reach and Idyllshire.
Right.
And they stopped allowing it. It's just like, okay, fine.
Yeah, they do that, and they give us the Crystalium, which is huge, and it's like, yeah, no mounts.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we can do it in Idyllshire. Remember that?
Mhm.
We're always able to do it there. I know it's not a city. I get it. But you zoned it. You zoned it.
That was the hub. That was the end game hub.
Yeah, and it was zoned.
Yeah.
It wasn't like you just rolled up into there. It was a fucking zone.
Rogros Reach, that was the hub that you hung out in, and it was zoned. So it's like, whatever.
Flynn, what'd you think of the show, top to bottom?
Yeah, pretty decent live letter.
Yeah, I thought I thought it was longer than it needed to be, but that's most.
Oh, that's normal.
That's just the default.
We're used to that at this point.
Tark?
But yeah, like I was expecting,
sorry.
part 1 didn't give me a Cybers, part 2 did.
Tark?
I'm excited for the cosmic stuff. I'm excited for Southhorn. But overall, like I said, it's too long. It's stuff that we've been having these live letters for 11 years, 12 years. It's all the same stuff, So I'll give it a B.
And especially the stuff that you seem to be interested in the most is still another month away anyway.
I know. It's like we might get a post live letter before we get to that stuff. So
right. Yeah, I'd probably give it a B as well. I'm really hopeful that the story starts picking up. Like the MSQ, we've kind of beat that horse, so I'm not going to go into it. But I really, really hope that it picks up here. I think they have an opportunity to. With her coming back, and we don't know who this is. Is it who we think it is? If so, how? If it's not, why and who? Like, it could be interesting, but I've just kind of been checked out of the story since 7.0. So I'm definitely in that burnout club on 14 right now.
And you didn't even do Fru.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about that. Hey, let's move on to some other Square Enix stuff. Square Enix is actually suing another company right now, and it's a company called Blackjack Studio. Now, ironically, these two companies have worked together before. Square Enix and Blackjack Studio were partnered for the release of a new Front Mission title. If you don't know Front Mission, that's Square Enix's mech combat game. I can't even remember the last one I played. It was probably back in the PS2 era for me personally. But they were partnered on Front Mission 2089 Borderscape, which was supposed to be an iOS Android title. And maybe 2022 it was canceled. Okay, so 3 years ago. You may not even have known it was a thing. It flew under some radars. Fast forward. Now Blackjack Studio released a game called Metal Storm in October of last year. And it is a mech combat game. Now Square Enix, it was removed from Steam for a little while and then put back up. Well, was it Steam? I don't even know if it was Steam because they filed it in both the US and Japanese courts. But anyway, it does have an English language Steam page, and that disappeared for a little while. It's back up now. You can still see it now. And they describe it as a mecha-themed tactical turn-based game that uses a Front Mission-style combat system where you can assemble mechas however you want, equip a wide selection of weapons, and choose your favorite pilots to engage in battle. If you watch the trailer, it looks like Front Mission. It legitimately does.
Yeah.
So Square Enix hit them with a bunch of DMCA takedowns. And they tried to get it yanked from storefronts, and they did briefly. It is now back up on Steam. And so Square Enix filed suit in both the U.S. and Japanese courts, and they put a bunch of side-by-side comparisons of stuff that they were working on. And some of those examples are pretty freaking close. Yes. And they say that this game couldn't have been released in its current state because it makes use of game mechanics, visual designs, and other protected content from the Abandoned Front Mission collaboration. And they want Blackjack to both remove all the infringing material and cough up $150,000 per infringement. Now, whether or not they'll get that or even anywhere close to that remains to be seen. But it doesn't look exactly great for Blackjack, Chris.
When you get into bed with another company on their IP and you develop, yes, it sucks if that project gets shut down. I feel for the developers, but that stuff's not technically yours. That's theirs. You can't just repurpose it, slap a new label on it, a new name, and be like, yeah, well, we're gonna keep going with it because, that's unfortunate. I would have loved to have seen a new, Front Mission game in that vein, and maybe this game is awesome, but it might be going away.
Yeah. Man, now I want a new front mission game, Flynn.
I do. Yeah.
I just love the cheek of this. It's like all the side by sides look so
I
similar.
know.
Just asked front mission style combat system just to really drive that wedge in.
Yeah, and I remember when Dark and Darker's developers were Iron Mace Studios. They were that's what it was. I couldn't remember it. Iron Mace Studios. They were getting sued by Nexon, wasn't it? I think it was Nexon. Iron Mace. Just to make sure.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Nexon.
Yes.
I didn't want to misquote if it was NCSoft. Nexon, and I've been covering it over and over and over, like throughout the entire lawsuit. And I remember way back in the initial stages, they did some side-by-side comparison screenshots, and people were like, "Yeah, I mean, it kind of looks the same. It's similar-ish." Maybe some Unity assets. And like I downplayed that portion. I was like, you know what? If you look at the lawsuit, this one's very different, right? In that one, they were alleging copyright infringement, but they were also alleging trade secret infringement because they said they stole a bunch of information and materials when they left the company and then formed their own studio, and it was only because of those materials that they could create Dark and Darker as fast as they did. Now, fast forward, we know that in Korea, the copyright infringement portion was dismissed. Iron Mace was found not guilty on that front, and I know Iron Mace fans were all like, "Oh, look, they won." No, they didn't. They got slaughtered in that lawsuit, because the copyright infringement portion was just a very small piece of that, and it was always the less likely of the two charges to be adequately proven in a court. Iron Mace got slammed on the trade secrets front, and they were found guilty and millions in penalties and all that fun stuff. This is very different, right? This is just going after copyright, so those comparisons need to be stronger, and damn are they. Like,
they're so strong.
They are very, very strong comparisons.
And it's not just like the mechs, like the UI, man. The UI is just
the environment, like in some of them.
The environment literally being exactly the same.
The maps are like, hey.
It's just like colors were changed, and that was it. Like they weren't even
buildings in
coy
exact
about
same
it.
places.
Yeah,
that side by side of the map, like the buildings are all the same. Like, come on, didn't change
all that's really
thing.
changed is what models were on that screen.
Yeah.
If you are looking for something to play,
Always,
and you are an RPG fan, Square Enix may have just dropped the best ad they have ever dropped.
Oh yes.
I mean, Ben Starr is more and more becoming just a star.
Yeah, Ben Starr is the star of a new Square Enix video advertising an RPG sale that the company is running. Now, to be fair, the prices aren't that great on most things. It's a couple of bucks on most things. Now, if you are looking, there are a couple bigger ones. Star Ocean Second Story R is like 40% off on most platforms, that's a great one. Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster is like 30% off if you buy the one by itself. You can get it for like under $13. Visions of Mana is $39, so that's 35% off. Tactics Ogre Reborn is 50% off. Definitely worth grabbing that. And then Dungeon Encounters is 60% off, so you can pick it up for $12. Some great RPGs there for you at very good pricing. There are other games, Fantasian Neo Dimension, and a few other titles on there as part of their biggest RPG sale ever. Okay, fine. Like, it's a couple of bucks here and there. Like, Rebirth is on sale for $50.
They're not slashing those big AAA ones, 50% off. Here you're like, 5-10%.
Rebirth is like $50, but it is definitely worth checking out if there's a couple that you maybe thought about picking up. Some of them have some pretty decent pricing. However, the ad that goes with this, I can't believe it's free. Like, I would have paid for the ad. It's such a good video, and Ben Starr is brilliantly funny in it. His comedic timing and okay, so first off, as an actor, right, it is not my job to be funny. Okay, that's the writer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the writer that does that. And William H. Macy said this in like an interview a very, very long time ago, one of my favorite actors, that it's not the actor's job to be funny. It's the writer's job to be funny. And so this, full credit to the writers. Full credit to the writers. It is very funny. And Ben
huge
Starr's
props to the prop department to you as well.
Yes. And Ben Starr's I watched this multiple times just looking at all the shit in the background.
Yeah. All the Square Enix books.
Yep.
I did manage to find the 4 that they included in here.
Ben Starr's delivery of a very good script is just perfection. It is such a good ad. It's very funny. And it's if you just read the script, it would be very easy to go, man, this when we film this is going to be so cringe, Tark.
So cheesy,
but Starr just nails it. Just absolutely nails it, sells it. You totally buy that he's this narcissistic asshole. Like you are all
you just have
in
that
on
energy.
It's so good. It's so good. It was literally fantastic. If you haven't seen it, I mean, I'm showing it here, but that does not do it justice. No. Besides seeing some of the games and the set, go watch it. Go watch it.
But damn it, gents, I want to read Moogles and Men.
Yeah, like all the classic book titles that were just... literally, I watched it multiple times just looking at shit in the background. It's such a good video. Like, they did a very, very fantastic job with it. On the other side of Square Enix.
Yeah.
On the not fantastic side of Square Enix. Life is Strange Double Exposure apparently was so bad financially and such a, quote, large loss. I'm pretty sure that franchise is dead. I'm pretty sure Life is Strange is just dead.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting too much from this because
none of us were.
Nod wasn't involved, so it's like, are they going to respect the original? And that seems to be definitely not the direction he went.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to have a meta score of 73, but then when your user score is like sub 5, it's like womp womp.
Yeah, 4.3 on almost 700 reviews from the users. I mean, it was always going to be a weird one. If you played the previous one, it was kind of like,
niche. Yeah.
How is this character back? Like, okay. I'm not going to give anything away there. If you've played it, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it was a large loss, according to some insiders. Now, there is another part of this report that's like kind of subject for debate right now. People are trying to parse because there's translations involved and all that fun stuff. And people are thinking that based on some numbers in that report, it looks like Final Fantasy XVI only sold between 500,000 and 1 million copies in the last year. And there seems to be, there's some argument on Reddit. You can have some fun. You're parsing the language through interpretation, language interpretation, and stuff like that. On what exactly are they referencing here? Are they referencing total sales, which means then it only sold 500,000 to 1 million in the last year? What is going on here? But anyway, that's slightly bad news either way on the 16 front, but it's terrible news if you were a Life is Strange fan, because it is unlikely, with that one being such a large loss, that you're going to get another title.
Sad. It was such a great start to that franchise, and it's just like slowly trickled down, and this is a bummer for that franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. On the Final Fantasy trading card game front, man, Flynn, it's a good time to be an FFTCG fan. It just really is.
Well, you see that?
They got like a PC port of the game?
No, I wish. I wish.
Yeah, whereas I was going to mention that Digimon have just got their phone app announced. Where's Final Fantasy XIV?
Yeah, well, it's just the phone app. Yeah. I saw that today too. The Legacy set, which I was talking about on last week's show, which was completely sold out, in their presentation this past week, They did announce that is completely sold out. The company is totally out of them, which is fantastic news. We love hearing that as an FFTCG player. But because of how well it sold and how many people it is actually bringing back to the game, they are going to do a second print run, which was something I suspected and said from the onset, but it is confirmed now. They've decided that they are going to re-release the Legacy Collection set. That is fantastic news.
Brilliant news.
Yeah, so we should be able to get that back in stores for any of you coming back to the game, and it's a great way for new players to pick up some serious staples, in addition to the world decks that are coming out later this year that will give you a ton of staples of competitive play at a very, very cheap price.
Come to me, you freaked. I need more copies.
Next week's show, by the way, we will do our Legends review. Working on getting some special guests. I don't know if it'll work. Tark and Flynn and I will figure it all out in the background. I got to work with people's schedules, and we'll see who's on and who's not. I think, Tark, you'll have the week off for sure because you just don't play. Flynn, it depends on the guests. We'll cool. Work it out. Anyway, that'll be next week that we'll do the Legends review as Tears of the Planet. The new set comes out next Friday. Pre-release
on Monday.
Well, yeah, for you.
In the UK.
Yeah, so in the States here, there's sadly been a delay to the pre-release kits. We were supposed to start getting the pre-release kits Friday for events Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and then going into next week. The pre-release kits have been delayed in most places by a week, which means pre-release and set release day will now be the same day next Friday. So I won't be streaming any pre-release gameplay this week here on Ready Check Radio. It'll just be a normal locals again. But then next week we'll be streaming, deck building and construction from a sealed pre-release kit. So that'll be nice. And if you are a competitive player here in the U.S. Or North America in general, the local qualifier season is now up on the site. There are 88 events this year compared to 60 last year. We still have 8 Materia Cups as well to qualify for Nats. That season gets underway with the local on the local qualifier front in April. And one of the first ones, the first weekend of the events, there is a locals in my area. That'll be the one that I'm streaming because I'll most likely be TOing it. It's not official yet, but I would imagine I'll end up TOing it. So here we go. Competitive season getting ready to kick off again. Mm-hmm. Hey, Flynn, we brought up last week the Final Fantasy IX anime. Ironically, you found an update because none of us could remember when the last we heard from it was.
Yeah, this is something I found earlier today. We found details about the pitch for the anime. And it involves Vivi's kids, one of them getting trapped in ice, and all the kids going out into the wider world. Bad news. The animation studio behind it has shut down. So we don't know if it is even still in development.
Nice.
So we might not ever see it.
Yeah, the studio shut down back in 2022.
That's no bueno.
Yeah.
Hey, last up here before we head over to Love It or Leave It, I just did, as a Square Enix fan, I just wanted to bring this to people's attention. I don't know if my hosts were even aware of it until they saw the show notes, but
I was not.
In lieu of Dragon Quest XII news, I bring you news of an indie RPG that is kind of described as a love letter to Dragon Quest. It's on Steam Early Access. Right now, it is called Splintered. And as I'm sure you can tell from the video here, it is very much a love letter to Dragon Quest.
Be very careful. Square's on the suing warpath now.
However, there's a bit of a caveat that Dot Make Studios put in this one. By the way, there's the early access demo is available now, so you can play a demo for free. It's planning to release tomorrow, the 21st. I don't know if that'll be delayed or anything, but if it releases tomorrow, great. Either way, there's a demo up right now that you can take advantage of. So the kind of wrinkle here is the world gets randomized every time the main villain behind the game gets defeated. So every time that happens, the locations of items, equipments, towns, all of it changes, and the hero is sent back in time to unlock new challenges, classes, and game modes while continuing to work their way through and preparing for the final showdown. So it is turn-based combat, uses attacks and spells, and level up equipment, and mix and match equipment from multiple classes. So like everything you could want is in there. But it does have that neat little caveat. So if you were looking for something while you are waiting for Expedition 33, which I see chat talking about, if you are looking for something, good. Maybe this will help you kill a few hours.
Probably wait to have more Ben Starr in our lives, eh?
Yes, absolutely. Check it out. Releases tomorrow, the 21st, or is at least supposed to, but the demo is available now. Let's head over to Love It or Leave It. Love it or leave it is the way we end every episode of the Relic Grind here. It's where I give you something Square Enix related. Could be a game that they've done, a feature they've added, something they've said in the press, or something even just tangentially related to Square Enix, because it's my show and I'll do whatever the hell I want. So this week, I want to ask all of you, we just covered Splintered. Now, we all talk about our love for some of these older titles. But I don't know about you. I've gone back and tried to play the original Dragon Warrior here in the United States.
It's old.
It's rough. It's rough. And so I wonder, when you see something like this, clearly a love letter to that, but doing some things different, is the doing things different enough to make you love something like this, Tark? Or is it, hey, that's cute, but I'm going to leave it. I'm not in that era of gaming anymore. I have nostalgia for it, but I'd rather go play Remake or the Pixel remasters or something a little more updated and current, even if it is an older game. So Splintered, love it or leave it?
I'm going to love it. I'm always down for some old school RPGs and old school gaming in general. Like I have my Super Nintendo and my Nintendo hooked up. I will plug those in and play some stuff every once in a while with my kids. Like, so I am all about that. To have something like that is fresh and brings a new idea. Yeah, I'm all for it. I love it.
Flynn.
There's something that's to do with this. Is the randomness of this and the old school graphics. Like, yeah, cool. I am currently on a Balatro kick. That's just poker with weird added mechanics. So I think this is more up my alley than I'm initially thinking it's going to be, and I might get sucked in quite a lot. So it's a huge love it.
So, okay, I love the concept.
Yeah.
RPG,
some roguelike, yeah, screw it.
Yeah,
if you can
absolutely.
reinvent poker and make me love it, I'll get involved.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. I don't think I'm going to play it. Like, and I bring it to everybody's attention here because this is a Square Enix show. This is kind of in that vein. I love old retro games. Like, I still play all of my favorites and Steam Deck and stuff like that. And obviously, this is a perfect title for a Steam Deck, right? Just like boot it up on the Steam Deck and go. It's one of those ones, though, that I will probably buy. Don't get me wrong. I will probably buy, if for no other reason than to support these types of games continuing to be a thing. Now, am I like super excited, stoked, ready to try it out? No. Is it something that I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot I had that while I'm on a flight. Let me check it out? Probably. So I can't say I love it, which means I'm going to have to say leave it because I'm not allowed to fence sit. I'll support it. I'll probably buy it. And who knows, I may play it and then run through the entire thing and love it because what was that? There was one that I bought just to support it, and then I ended up just playing it like crazy. It was one where you actually went through the gaming eras. It wasn't that long a game. it was like you started as 8-bit and then you got level up pieces and stuff, and it turned the game into 16-bit and then 32-bit, and then what the hell was that? Oh man. What the hell was that called? Please, somebody. Oh my God, I can't end the show not knowing the name of this. Oh my God. RPG where you played through gaming eras. Evoland. Yes, Evoland. The Evoland series is fantastic, and it was one of those that I felt like I'm just gonna buy to support this type of thing, and then I was like, oh my God, this is enthralling. It's not terribly long, but yeah. So maybe this will happen here, but I'm gonna go with leave it for now. I'm gonna go with leave it. That's gonna do it for us here today. Of course, 7.2 this coming week. Don't miss out. Until next week, Flynn, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitch over at Within Crisis. You can find me on X at either Within Crisis or Flynn_Lawlight.
Tark.
Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all Tark Out Gaming. Find me playing Final Fantasy XIV most days of the week. And here on Ready Check Radio Saturday nights as we maybe finish up Final Fantasy II. We're getting there.
Getting there. I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me right there at Magic Man 1. But more importantly, follow at RC Radio, RAIDEO, and you'll know every time we're going live with a podcast, a stream, Final Fantasy trading card game locals, you name it. You can also follow us on Blue Sky at the same address. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.